Hello, people. Today I have with us a special model kit called Lumitea, and this is from the Arcanadea kit from the Kotobukiya group. This is fantasy style model kit in the Arcanadea universe, which is a brand new one as per this model kit. She came out early last year, I think, so she's been sitting on my shelf for quite some time. I had been meaning to get to her. But, I have quite a lot of backlogs, so I tried to clear that out of the way first. You instantly see that she has a different feel from other Kotobukiya kits. You have those really nice details and a different aesthetic. So instead of a mecha girl, of course, you have a fantasy girl. That's something different that I hadn't seen from them, except for maybe Dark Magician Girl, which actually came out after. And maybe the other cross-frame stuff from the LBCS, the Emperor and the Achilles. Now, these girls here are from a line that from the universe Arcanadea, which from the promotional videos implies that they are from the promotional videos and website, which I'll try to link in the description. They kind of say that they're like a personal assistant type thing. It's kind of hard to understand because, of course, I don't speak Japanese or read Japanese. But from what I can tell, they are supposed to be like little personal assistants that you take along with you during your day. They're supposed to remind you of appointments that you had to do or things that you have to accomplish, places you need to be, just friendly reminders such as this. Now, Lumitea in particular is the first one of the line, so I think that's just like the idea of you can have a little angel at your side is really cool. The second one, Valretta, is an imp, so you have that same aesthetic of, maybe like the little devil at your shoulder versus the angel at your shoulder. It's kind of a neat thing. The third and fourth iterations that they're coming out with, I'm not sure how that's gonna work because these ones can fly. They have wings. They fly around with you. The third iteration in this one is a fox, and the fourth one is a centaur that they're planning, and I don't know how that works. I mean, maybe they could fly around on your shoulder too, but I don't know. It's just kind of odd to me. The first one, though, here, Lumitea, is a very charming girl. I really like her. There isn't anything out of the ordinary about her build except for the detail that they put in the armor set. Oh, and that's something that I was surprised at, but you could just see the little fine detailing that they did to her. It's really cool, really nice, really small, fine things that they added to that armor shell that really add to the feel of something premium versus what you normally see from Kotobukiya, which is those. I mean, the mecha stuff does have a lot of detail on it, but it looks mechanized. That's what that looks like. This definitely looks like a girl. There's just girl. There isn't anything mecha about them. So I couldn't even call this a Mecha Musume kit. With that said, I will quickly cover articulation and what that can accomplish. This girl is fairly simple as far as girl kits go. She went together very fast. So let's go ahead and start at the head. There is a ball joint in the neck, of course, and that one actually connects to her head and to the ball joint inside her chest, which is this one here. And as you see here, you can move that up and down, which allows her head to move in any of those dimensions that you need. So if you push that all the way down, you can lean it back, lean it forward, and then of course you have the ball at the top, which allows you to have even more range. With that said, you can see how thin that peg is, this one here, so make sure you are very careful with putting too much torque on it. It probably can break. I haven't seen that one personally have any issues from anyone that I know that's built this, but that isn't to say that someone might mess it up. And like I said, it is pretty small, so we'll have to make sure we observe that. Turning this around before we get to the shoulders, there are the little wings. These can come off, of course. You can plug this right out. It is on a hexagram style peg, so you get that crossover from the Hexagear Universe looking thing there. I don't know if that's the same size. I didn't check. I can do that in a little bit. But the little wings are on a peg, so you can move them in and out as you'd like. Nice shoulder armor if you use it like this. But let's put those back. The shoulders are a very standard type. You have the socket here, the ball joint here. You can move this one up, down, all around. Quite a lot of articulation range from that one. They did carve it quite a bit. Let's see here. All the way out to this. So you can move it almost all the way up. Actually, that's pretty far. I didn't recognize that before. It's even farther than I thought. So, I'll leave that one off too. And then, of course, you have that range of motion inside the socket as well. So, you have that going for it. This rotates at this axis, which is the peg that plugs into. Just a single articulation point at the elbow. Nice and folded and all the way out, just a little bit past 180. The wrist is the standard wrist pin that we always like to get. It is a little bit longer on the body side, so it is easy to tell which way goes which. And I think that's a structural thing, so for this one it is a little bit stronger than your normal girl kits. Let's go ahead and show off the body too. Lower body, of course, you have the socket up here and you have the ball in here. The ball is on a little wiggly mount, so you can move it to the left and to the right and slightly forward and back. And if I recall correctly, it was a tad difficult to get this one in place, so let's see. There you go, not too bad. Now, these little fins here, these little dress fins are articulated just a hair. They are on a tiny, tiny little peg, so please be careful with those if you do choose to move them out of the way. So, like you can see, this one's already loose. This one, however, is not. That's how they're supposed to react to you. There is a 3mm peg that goes into her back here, and that does allow articulation here. It's not really meant to, but it can be done. Now, the first run of these kits did have an issue with the inside of the ball joint here. The socket inside the thigh had issues where air would become trapped between the ball and the socket and not allow you to push it in unless you went really hard, in which case you had a chance to break it. But let's go ahead and show you what that looks like on this one. This is the revised version. So that's the new cup, the new socket, and that is on a mount inside there, similar to how some of the frame arms kits work nowadays. It isn't quite as articulated as the Megami Device new bodies, but it is really nice there. You do have some range. The legs do drop down at the hip here, so you can pull that down a little bit to aid in sitting down positions or anything that requires a slightly drop down hip here. Definitely for sitting though. Of course, we have our articulation point at the upper thigh, so you can rotate your leg 360 degrees here. Just a simple peg, of course, nice and easy to put on and take off. Your knee is a different sort. I am a fan of this in a way, and I'm also not a fan of it in others. It's locked in place at the bottom, and I think it pegs up to the top, and I'm not sure if that's the case because they just built it last night, and I don't remember, unfortunately. Still, it is a nice clean look when closed, but when open, it gives you a little bit of oddness there. I think it's a nice way to represent a clothed look that the SST girls have also. So I'm not going to complain about it. It does look nice in the back. It's not beautiful, but it is nice. The knees were something I think people complained about when they first saw it. They're like, oh, it's that ugly knee. And I don't think it is ugly. Oop. That's that peg I was talking about. Let's put that back on. But yeah, you can fold that leg up pretty high. It's not the best, but it's pretty much going to get what you need it to do. That brings us down to the ankle. The ankle has a couple of joints here. This one is up inside the leg here. So let's see. We can pull that one out and rotate it. You don't have to pull it out, of course, but you can rotate it there. I just wanted to show you that's where the joint is. And then you have a captured ring with the peg that goes down into that. So you have just the up and down articulation there. But with that rotation here, that gives you quite a lot. And then, of course, because it's a peg, you can turn this foot any direction you like to on that peg, and therefore get a lot of dynamism out of that nice ankle. Very, very lovely. Last but not least, there is a very small point of articulation at the toe that actually carries over to the other one that I'm going to show you in just a bit. But before I get to her wild eyes mode, let me go ahead and show you a size comparison. I am actually excited to show this off. Here she is beside the Gundam base GBN Gundam. He's really short, as we could tell. That's a high grade, so it is the smallest of the Gundam bunch. Besides the 30-minute missions Alto, here's where things start to get scary. This is a 1/100 scale Jinrai. You could tell she's actually taller than him, and quite a lot, too. And as you see, she is more substantial and taller than our Architect here, which is our frame arms. Architect, to be fair, is a rather short frame arms girl, but she is my standard, so I wanted to show her beside. If you recall, I told you that the Megami device is about the same size as our 30-minute sisters here. So our sisters in the tallest form will be about the same height as Magical Girl here. Here is our little guy, Nero. And because he's here, I'm going to go ahead and take a little tangent and see if I can swap out his backpack for hers. Alright, I'm not shocked to say that that fits. Of course, it is a hexagear style port, so our little guy Nero can float around on a little tiny angel wings if you wanted to do that, and her new backpack will support his giant gun if he so chooses to let her use it. Very funny here. Last but certainly not least in my group, there is the Alex Gundam beside her. This one finally makes her look a little bit less bulky, less large, and shows off the massive scale of a Master Grade Gundam. Our little girl here, Lumitea, is definitely intimidated. Before I move on to what they call Wild Eyes mode, I'm going to show you a couple other things that came in the box. Of course, we have lots of hands, you know, the style of hands that they normally give, including an expressive open hand like this, a relaxed open hand like this, and a pointing holding hand, which is pretty cool. They include a set of held together hands, so it can appear as though she's praying or begging for something, which is kind of funny, but very cute as well. In addition to that, they include a backpack replacement for the wing set, so you get that nice hexagram style connector there, and a port cover, because you can't have an empty port on your girl here. This is actually the extension. Hold on. Where's the port cover? On the port cover is actually included in this piece here. I put that in there and didn't realize I slammed it all the way down. But, you know, God forbid you should show a 3mm peg. You have to cover that up. It's too dirty and too obnoxious there. I'll be able to pull that out eventually, and that can slide into that port right there if you don't want to use this as a stand. There are also these arm covers. You know, these are the gap protectors like so, and you don't necessarily need to use them there, because it does include those little fluffy ones. So that's something else they include. They also include these hair inserts, and these hair inserts go in the same places those little feathery things go into. So if you wanted to have her as a normal mode, you just slip one of these out. You'd probably slip both of them out, but you know what I mean. And you slide this in its place. And I'm doing it backwards and upside down. But something like... Make sure you clean up the part without any nubs before you do it. But just like that, so she has a nubless and, a featherless look instead of this one here. And you do have both sides, so you can do that. And then you have, of course, the little crown. The crown is a little odd because it didn't include any way to mount it, but it does fit on her head perfectly. That's just what they did. Last but not least, they did include other faces. I have not opened these ones yet. They have the smiling and closed eyes. They have the aggressive one and a smiling with open mouth. They also include water slide decals for those faces, so you can replace them with exact copies of them. If you painted everything else, you want to paint the face to match the same color tone, then yeah, you would need the water slides. And then finally, the stand. So the stand is very nicely made, very thick stand material. I think it looks really nice and is very firm and together. I think it's made of ABS plastic, so it's nice and sturdy, even though there isn't any sort of clutching inside here except for, just fitment. And then it is also elegantly designed, as you see here. And it works well with the tone of the magical girl style, fantasy style girl. I'm going to go ahead and change her up to the Wild Eyes mode, which is, I'm not sure what that means, but that is her up armored form. Let's go ahead and do that right now. So this is Lumitea in her Wild Eyes mode. And as you see, she has big wings. Her head feathers have changed. You get a lot of armor on the legs. They are completely different legs, in fact. Even the feet are different. You can see armor up on her arms, her shoes. Everything is just a little extra. The little wings have been, a little bit more pronounced. And they got that extra joint on so that you can put those wings in. You do get some articulation there in the wings here, and then of course here, so you can kind of spread them open and over, as wings would do. Let's just drop her. Of course you want to make that happen. Lots of things were added to, more than anything. It was just additional pieces. So instead of a new form or something like that, you just add on extra. You do completely change out the legs though. So that's something, you get this extra detail on that. And the lower section of her thighs completely up armored. Same type of articulation though, so I'm not going to go over that again. And you don't lose anything on the arms. You just basically replace those flutes for this style, and on this one it's just like kind of an arm guard with something that pegs on top of it. And then you gain this sword, which I think is an odd weapon. Let's see if I can show you guys what I mean here. So the sword is really cool in and of itself. I really like that it has the angel wings look, and what's going on with the camera there? It's turning yellow. The angel wings look, and it's got that little motif on it. I don't know if you guys can see that. Very nice looking sword in my opinion. The weird part comes from this. So there isn't a place on her to mount this per se. I mean, there's a 3mm peg at her back, or the 3mm port for her, but that's female, whereas this one's the male. And this is how you would mount it. I mean, she has to hold it, basically, is what I'm trying to show you. She's got to hold the scabbard in one hand while she uses the sword in the other. It's kind of odd. Nothing you couldn't fix with, say, a clip. But I don't really care for the look. It's jutting out like that. You could have done it a little bit more elegantly. I'm not saying you had to, of course, but it's a very odd choice of design. Even if you put it upward like this, it's still very strange. And then with the weapon inside, it's even stranger, you know. If that was to be a quick draw, you wouldn't know which one to grab. So it's just a strange choice to me. But she herself looks fantastic in Wild Eyes mode. I think they overdid it a little bit with the leg armor. Oh man, the sun is trying to get in on there. There you go. Maybe. Oh well. You know, I think they overdid it with the leg armor on her knees, but it's not bad. I really do think that it's a very nice and elegant look. It's similar to how I feel about those Chitosarium kits. They're very elegantly done. So they did a lot of very fine detail work, and they put it all right here in your face. It's right there for you to see, right there for you to absorb and enjoy. So in addition to what I just showed you, she also has a very faintly blue skirt underneath some of her skirting armor. So that kind of gives her a more floaty look in the air. It kind of flows with her stand a little bit better, and it gives her a different feel than her normal form. I just wanted to show you that before I say goodbye. The Wild Eyes mode is, I think it does add enough to it, and it doesn't add too much. Like, you can see sometimes when you get extra armor parts, it's like needless. The only thing I think is needless is kind of that knee armor. It's a little bit big, but it's not, like, it fits with the rest of her look. So I think the Wild Eyes mode is a win in my book. I think it's right there at perfect with what you should get extra in an armed versus armor, an unarmed versus armored mode. So I think she looks great. Her face sculpt is beautiful, and it works with both modes. So it's just something that I really fell in love with, and I hope you do too, because this line Arcanadea is so different. Like, it's fantasy, but it's I don't know, it's a very strange concept. Like, she's a non-scale model, but they kind of say in the promotional materials that this is what they would be like if they were in real life. So it might be a small little angel girl that follows you around, kind of like a personal assistant. And that's pretty funny, you know, it's cool. And if it was a little angel like that, it would be super cute, you know, to have her following you around. It'd be pretty rad. So I think it's pretty fun. It was a really nice kit to build. I didn't expect to finish her in one night, which I did. I started building her, got to the normal mode, and I'm like, well, that was pretty easy. And I just kept going because, you know, you might as well. Sometimes it's like, oh man, this is a chore. But this didn't ever get to that point. And then the wings, you know, when you basically do the wings last, it's, I think, the step right before you get to the legs. So it's almost there at the end. You're like, oh, okay, it's just a couple pieces snapped together, nice and easy. That's kind of a breath of fresh air, because some of them, they're just really a slog to go through. I haven't done any kits recently that have been a slog to go through, so I don't know why I'm complaining, but it is still nice to see that the ones that I've been building are nice and easy. The one thing I will say about these ones is they are rather expensive. So, I mean, for a girl kit, this one is, I think, $70 to $90 is what I've seen them go for, if you can find them. Arcanadea, Lumitea specifically is a harder one to find because she was the first. Valretta is around, but people are scalping the heck out of her at around 100 to 120 is what I've seen her for. So be careful if you find them. Don't pay more than $80. You know, that's really what they're running and what they should be valued at. That's my opinion, though. If you want to do it, do it. I just don't think you should. But with that said, I think she's worth the buy. Definitely worth your interest. And I hope that you do think about getting one, because I want this line to continue. So the more support I have out there for her, more Kotobukiya sees that people are buying her, the better. I don't think there's any issue with that because they do sell out pretty quickly. Like I said, they are pretty hard to find nowadays, so there's that. And my last thoughts about her are just the size of her. She's actually pretty substantial, and I thought that was a surprise because compared to the Megami devices and 30-Minute Sisters have been building a lot of lately, she's more akin to a larger frame arms girl than anything else. So that's not bad. I do like the larger girls. They're more substantial, more shelf presence. In this one, with her wings, she does have shelf presence, but it's also small enough that you can keep it on your shelf and not feel bad. Now, I did get some news from one of my friends that watches these videos. He told me that one of these was sitting on his friend's shelf and kind of turned brown. And I'm like, I don't know what that means. Did it get dusty? Did it get old? Did it age? I don't know what happened. So I'm trying to get more info out of him. I don't think he saw my reply. So if he did, and you watch this, chicken, you got to let me know what happened there. And tell me why she turned brown. That's so strange. But he told me he recommended a top coat, so I'm probably going to put her away in one of my Daiso containers that I like to put things in. For example, there's this one here that has my Lurinel, nice and easy, and keep her safe from the elements. But be wary of that. At least I think maybe in the sun that she doesn't do too hot. But I think that's going to be it for today. I know I've been taking up a lot of your time. I will see you guys next time, or you'll see me, but more than likely, you'll see my stuff. Bye-bye, Lumitea. Have a good day. Bye-bye.